So, it's 2007. Legendary filmmaker Werner Herzog is down in Antarctica, and he catches something on camera that, honestly, it's been haunting the internet for like 2 decades. Imagine a massive colony of penguins, thousands of them. Everyone's vibing, heading to the ocean to grab some fish, right? Standard penguin stuff. But then there's this guy. He breaks away. He's not going for food. He's not going back to his squad. He just starts marching straight toward the mountains, 70 kilometers of absolute nothingness. When the researchers actually tried to save him and drag him back to the group, he just did a 180 and started walking again. No hesitation. Just gone. This clip has over 8 million views, and if you scroll through the comments, it's a total mood. You'll see thousands of Americans saying stuff like, "This is literally me at 3 a.m.," or "when the intrusive thoughts finally win." So here's the real question, the shadow question. Is this penguin actually depressed? Is he going postal? Or did he just realize the whole colony thing was a total scam? We can't look away because that penguin isn't just a bird. He's a mirror. And what we see reflecting back? Well, it's a bit dark.
To understand why this glitched penguin hits so hard, you gotta look at how we've been gaslit about nature for years. Back in 2005, a movie called March of the Penguins dropped, narrated by Morgan Freeman, the voice of God himself. It was a massive hit, second highest grossing doc in U.S. history, and man did people run with it. Conservative groups in the States started using these birds as the ultimate poster kids for traditional family values. They saw the dad penguin standing in the freezing cold to protect the egg and said, "See, nature wants us to have a picket fence and a 9 to 5. It was peak trad wife content before that was even a term. But there was a major glitch in that narrative. The director of that film was actually low-key horrified. He had to come out and remind everyone that penguin loyalty basically lasts for 1 season. Their divorce rate? It's like 80 to 90%. They aren't devoted partners, they're just on a 1-year contract. But the American public didn't want the truth. They wanted the brand-safe Disney-fied version of reality. They wanted to project their own shadows of duty and sacrifice onto a bird that, let's be real, is just trying to not freeze to death. And that's exactly when Werner Herzog stepped into the chat. He didn't care about your family values. He went to Antarctica to look for the weirdos, the outliers, the ones who don't fit the script. He looked at the colony and asked the one question a U.S. school board would never allow. Is there such a thing as insanity among penguins?
So Herzog asks the scientist, Dr. Ainley, if penguins can actually lose their minds. Now, Dr. Ainley is a pro. He's not used to these kind of deep, main character, existential questions. He's like, well, I've never seen a penguin bash its head against a rock, but yeah, they do get disoriented. But disoriented feels like a massive understatement. That's when Herzog drops the footage that broke the internet. We see this one penguin, a tiny black speck against an endless, blinding white void, just sliding. Not toward the water, not toward safety. He's heading 70 kilometers inland, toward certain death. Herzog's narration gets real dark here. He points out that even if you fix the penguin, even if you drag him back to the colony so he can be a good little NPC again, the second you let go, he turns right back around. He's chosen the mountains. And here is where the science hits a wall. See, researchers want to call it a navigational error, maybe a parasite in the brain, or some magnetic sensor that glitched out. But the shadow work perspective? It's different.
we see a creature that has simply opted out. In the US, we have this term called quiet cracking. It's that moment where you're doing everything right, the job, the bills, the social expectations, and then one day your brain just says, no. You aren't lost. You're on a journey that no one else understands. You've stopped performing for the colony, and you're finally walking toward your own personal mountains. But, as Herzog famously says, nature doesn't care about your brave journey. The mountains don't have a welcome mat. They just have the cold.
So, why are we still obsessed with this deranged penguin 20 years later? It's because we're all experts at shadow projection. We look at that bird and we don't see a biological glitch. We see our own desire to exit the grind. To some, he's a tragic hero. To others, he's a cautionary tale about what happens when you lose your vibe check with reality. But for the most part, it represents the part of us that is tired of performing. In the US, we're taught from day one to find our purpose. But Herzog's shadow thesis is much colder. He looked into the eyes of a grizzly bear once and said he saw no kinship, no understanding, no mercy, just the overwhelming indifference of nature. That penguin isn't making a political statement. He isn't living his best life. He's just walking. And honestly, that's the ultimate shadow integration, accepting that sometimes there is no grand narrative, no 10 steps to success. Sometimes the intrusive thoughts aren't a bug, they're a feature. We project meaning onto the penguin because it's easier than facing the fact that nature and the universe might just be indifferent to our little human dramas. So next time you feel like the penguin, when you're done with a colony and the mountains start calling your name at 3 a.m., just remember, you can choose to walk. You can choose to integrate that dark side that wants to break the script. Just don't expect the mountains to care when you get there. If this hit home for you, you're definitely in the right place. We're going deeper into the digital shadow in the next one. Hit subscribe, and let's keep studying the dark together. Welcome to the shadow.